So I'm 27 years old, and I remember all the way back to the beginning of MLS, Major League Soccer, in the mid 90s. And at that point, professional soccer in America, at least in this modern era, was struggling to take root. Again, this is just as we were hitting the modern age of internet access, access to the global game around the world. We did have television and travel abilities to pull together our large size of Europe nation, but things were not coming together as expected. And if you look back 100 years, America has over a century of soccer history, but we've never been able to pull everything together under one single governing federation and unite a system of container tier leagues for independent clubs to compete in. It's always been an issue for us throughout the years. We haven't been able to do things the right way, but I thought it was just an issue in the mid to late 90s and the early 2000s, moving towards 2010. I thought it was just an issue of soccer being a baby sport. So I didn't have any idea that America did have this great soccer history with bad federation leadership and league versus league fighting. And I thought what we had with MLS was the same thing as open soccer systems in nations around the world. It looked like it. There were teams that called themselves clubs, and they were getting stadiums that were soccer specific, and they had crests that looked like soccer clubs around the world. And so things were really looking the part. And so my thought was, well, if we just give it time, eventually MLS will equal the rest of the soccer world. But then I started to realize that progress really wasn't being made. Year after year, MLS franchise outlets were getting smoked by Central American competition in the CONCACAF Champions League, which is our regional club championship. So, while people were touting up MLS improvements inside of our own borders, when we'd go play decent club teams from our own region, it was really no contest. So despite everyone saying, oh, well, MLS has this great parity and different teams can win every year, nothing was really great about it. We would just get hammered in our regional competition, and then people could really, as the advent of our ability to watch authentic club soccer around the world really rose, people could really tell the difference between inauthentic American closed shop soccer versus open system soccer around the world, both from a quality standpoint, great players and great clubs around the world that were unlimited and independent versus American franchise outlets in MLS, which are tightly capped and not allowed to be great in terms of the global soccer scene. So people can really tell the difference in the quality. Even if you aren't necessarily a soccer expert, you can still visually just kind of tell, like, watching La Liga in Spain or the German Bundesliga, it's miles ahead quality-wise of what the USA Soccer Division I is offering through MLS. And then just from a consequences standpoint too, the stories and the pressures of open systems where you have to fight for your position at the top of the pile, or where great stories could rise up from the lower division, from the ashes of near extinction and plow their way up to the English Premier League or top division in their country. That kind of story and those consequences just simply don't exist in American soccer. And when you put one against the other, it's no surprise that MLS, before our world soccer exposure became prevalent here in America, MLS did have a nice solid chunk of the American soccer market. But once we were able to access real authentic soccer around the world, it was really no contest. And MLS's, at least on the TV side of things, MLS's slice of the American soccer market is 7%, and that is only shrinking. Even though MLS can maybe point to some areas of growth, when you compare that growth to foreign soccer growth in America, Foreign soccer growth is eclipsing it by a wide margin. So myself and the majority of Americans have realized that MLS is just not the real thing. And you see that here in my state of Minnesota, we have a team that just moved into MLS. Basically, they were absorbed. There used to be an independent club locked in the lower divisions, Minnesota United FC. They essentially paid MLS to absorb their club, so they are now a part of Club MLS, the only club in our USA Soccer Division One. And so, okay, it seems like a good thing. They're in the major league, they're in Division One, but again, the MLS product as a whole, that limited, capped format, just does not appeal to us when we could so easily transfer our attention to real soccer overseas, the real version. It's at our fingertips now with our mobile devices, and pretty much every hour of the day we can find some sort of open system soccer to watch that is better than the product of MLS Division One. So what you see now is the MLS demographic. It's a very casual demographic. Maybe sort of families going for a night out, or even someone like me. I'll go to watch a game just because it's the only live pro soccer in the area at that high of a level. And so I'll just go for a night out to watch the ball. But I don't really have any interest in becoming an actual supporter of any of these teams, again, because they're not independent, unlimited clubs, and support doesn't really play any consequence into things. And that's what myself and a lot of my peers in what I would call the soccer serious demographic, here in Minnesota locally and then nationally, whether it be peers that are in my demographic. I come from more of a middle class suburban demographic, and there are a lot of soccer serious young people in particular that are passionate about soccer and that love open system soccer around the world. We know MLS exists, but we barely pay attention to what happens. It just doesn't draw us in because it's not the real deal. And then also, I know many people in ethnic and minority demographics as part of America's soccer serious demographic. And they flat out ignore it too, because they've got ties overseas. They know what real soccer is. They are smart, sophisticated soccer fans. And they can tell that American soccer is just like U.S. closed shop sports, where it's just a franchise. And these MLS franchises come in and just drop themselves into an area, and they claim, we are your team. And because we are situated in Minneapolis, Minnesota, or Chicago, Illinois, we are your local team, and the onus is on you to support your local team. And if you're not doing that, well, it's your fault. And that's not how it works. Club soccer, there is a deeper level of attachment beyond just location. A club is about having an organization that represents your culture and values, a place where you belong, where your support and your voice matters. And that's why you see the open systems around the world. You see, what's the most recent example? Hartlepool United in England. They just had the supporters pass a hat around to basically keep them alive. And they sent around the collection plates to keep the club alive. It's even though the club is struggling in lower divisions, they have so much history and so much family and community involvement that supporters will do anything to keep their club alive. Their support quite literally matters for the life and death of that club. And we just don't have that here in American soccer. So you see just this little 7% slice of people who just are into the crazy supporter group culture, which it's a fun time out, and I don't I have no problem with people going out and getting dressed up and singing and having some pints and doing the supporter group thing, but just not many people feel that same sort of attachment because it's just not authentic soccer. And I think that some people are just into more of the experience of being a supporter, or kind of looking like supporters around the world, ultras, than they are with the actual embodiment of what a supporter actually is or should mean in a soccer club. And again, I don't fault people for enjoying that outing, but the let's not confuse it with real club support around the world. It's just not the same thing. And then the rest of the people who go to attend MLS are just people they want to see live soccer. And MLS, we only have 20 some teams in America in our Division 1. People want to see live soccer. We see authentic soccer around the world on our televisions or our mobile devices, but we can't see the real thing live at a high level. So we go to just see it because it's the only option. And that goes to the kind of the issue of artificial scarcity that MLS kind of perpetuates, where it's the only one that has exclusive control over Division 1. So it gets to determine which markets in America get to see high-level soccer. It's all up to who can beg for a team in MLS, who can pay the $200 million expansion fee. It's not about can a community win its way up on the field and through its support. It's just about who does MLS accept into its culture. So we are hungry for high-level live soccer here in America, or soccer in our own time zone to watch on TV, but we have very limited access to it. If you look at this year, 2018, for example, in American soccer, we average about one nationally televised pro soccer game per week. You think about a nation of 330 million people with 25 million soccer players, with crazy ratings for foreign soccer overseas and crazy attendance for foreign club friendlies here in America. It's just astounding that we are that starved for high-level pro soccer. So if you open the system with promotion and relegation, all of a sudden the stakes and consequences become so much higher. You could see Division 2, Division 3, Division 4, Division 5 matches here in America become way more appealing than what our current closed Division 1 MLS is today. So, we do have something with MLS, and that's what they're afraid of losing soccer completely. And the apocalypse theory that we're somehow going to lose soccer at this point in 2018, it's just so 30 years ago. We need to look towards the future instead of worrying about the past. The one thing we're missing is a U.S. soccer governing federation that fully unites us under one tiered system. Now we have no more excuses not to do that. We have all the means necessary to unite everyone together, reserve our division sanctions for open leagues only. Any league that doesn't want promotion relegation can go operate like NFL without a Division 1 sanction, no problem. So that's the story. MLS just is not getting the job done, and the trajectory is only going the wrong way for it. That 7% slice I mentioned earlier is only shrinking. MLS can claim growth, but growth for authentic soccer around the world in America is increasing at a faster rate. So you're going to see sooner or later MLS is going to have a 3 to 4% slice of the pie. So how much longer are we going to put up with that? We need to make the right moves now, align our USA soccer ecosystem with the rest of the world. We need to have independent, unlimited clubs that can go as far as their support can take them. That's the only way we are going to leverage our amazing, amazing soccer potential here from a social, economic, and sporting standpoint. So if you like this video, make sure to share it out across social media and also subscribe right here to my channel. And I'll talk to you soon.